They wish they could show other people their memories instead of explaining or talking about them? I want to see a movie of my dreams. I guarantee they are cooler and more interesting than your dreams. Like the time my grandma rented out a palace in Singapore with hundreds of guests. There was a basketball court with drum sets and disc golf set up, and cameras ready to record music videos in black and white with a fisheye lens. Then when the villagers approached the castle gates, due to local rioting and food shortages, I got dibs on the first trolley back to the US because I was a grandson, not some money-grubbing cousin or aunt. It was the first time I saw the ocean. You could draw them potentially. I am not sure if this is the element you are getting at or not. It could be challenging to capture the nuance through a drawing/painting/comic/doodle. Did you see that episode of Black Mirror? Yes, I also wish that my memories could be seen/felt through my perspective so people have a deeper understanding. I'd also want to see other people's memories in their perspective. Like dream fasting? In the dark crystal? Yes, all the time. How do you feel about RP trauma being a deal breaker for you and a partner? I'm in this situation. It's not a deal breaker at all, ever, because I love my partner for the wonderful human he is, not for what happened. He is actively working on his trauma and he knows he has an empathetic listening ear for any information he decides he's comfortable and ready to trust me with. My feelings on what he shares are mine to manage. I do not ever need to know more than what he's ready to share, and when he's ready to take whatever the next step is for him, he will find me there, standing right beside him and having his back. Are things hard sometimes because of his experience? Sure, but we navigate that together. Nothing that happened could ever be his fault, and I love him unconditionally. That's not a deal breaker to me as long as they are currently working through their trauma in a healthy way or have done so already and come to a place of acceptance that it happened and was not their fault. I've had multiple partners who had been sexually assaulted or raped by someone before we got together. That had nothing to do with our relationship and I supported them in their healing. I've been raped. It would be terribly hypocritical for me to consider that experience a deal breaker for having a relationship with someone. I would hope they would feel comfortable enough with me to disclose it so that we can address handling it in a healthy way without triggering their trauma. To be honest, if they were assaulted and they tell me, I'd be honored that they even told me. It doesn't matter if they were assaulted or whatever as long as they get help and that doesn't affect our relationship I don't care about or whatever, so I'm here to listen, and hopefully give advice, but it doesn't change anything in the relationship. But I would like if they got help before they went into a relationship, instead of pushing all that trauma onto their partner like what they went through was horrible. But talk to a therapist. We are not your therapist. You should not be going to relationships so you will have one. We are not responsible for your happiness. I'm sorry. I don't date women who aren't experienced with women. Or at least teachable. Don't really care otherwise. It'd probably come up on the typical discussion about do's and don'ts prior to hitting the bedroom. The only way I can see it being a deal breaker is if they haven't started the healing process. If they're just sitting in their trauma and refuse to have it treated, then I would have to end it with them. Not only is there a chance of them unleashing their trauma onto me, but they could also trigger my own trauma with the way they act. So I'd have to end things with them for both of our sakes. In terms of telling each other, we should both be aware of this before any physical intimacy beyond kissing takes place. What is the absolute worst book you have ever read? The Happiness Machine. The premise of the book is that there's a device that can give you a list of 3 to 5 things that you can do to make you happier, and the things suggested range from eat more fries to cut off one of your fingers and quat. How does this change society? How does this impact the definition of happiness? Should people follow the suggestions, or refuse and seek their own path? The actual book is a mess of ever-switching protagonists that quickly abandons the premise of the happiness machines and turns into a romantic plot about a guy who's trying to get back with his ex but then also meets another woman while the kid he has with his ex overcomes his depression by playing video games about climbing mountains. Silver Fall by Ed Greenwood. I'm a fan of D&D. I was excited to read a book by the creator of Forgotten Realms after reading other novels set in the same universe. But wow, this book was bad. It embodies the men writing women sub more than any other book I've ever read. Even beyond the creepy, barely disguised fetish stuff, the prose was just wacky and hard to follow, and there wasn't even really a cohesive plot. It was awful. So disappointing. According to my favorite Forgotten Realms author, Ed Greenwood is a great person in real life, and he invented a world that inspired my favorite books ever. So I don't want to hate on him, but I will never pick up a novel by him again. It was painful to get through. Catcher in the Rye. It was absolute. Scrawled across 247 pages, all about the pondering of a college dropout who in his guilt coming home for Christmas to tell his family that he's a failure, gets beaten up by a pimp and reads and quat on a bathroom stall. How it became an American classic is beyond me. Twilight was actually a better story in this scenario, but only by the margin of a hair plucked from a bonobo chimpanzees. Edit, please. If I'm missing why this novel is so significant, explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. Don't attempt to guard it like it's on par with some experimental indie rock band no one has heard of that's just too deep to understand and quat. The Girl Next Door. It's one of the most disturbing, disgusting, and depraved books ever written. It's about a girl and her sister who are taken in by their aunt after their parents die. Said aunt enlists the help of several neighborhood kids to torture said girls. It's beyond awful. At least the movie was great. Just kidding, the movie is unwatchable. It didn't help that it was based on true events. DAE get bisexual vibes from Vladimir Putin? Nah. More like crazy vibes. Not in the least. He kind of reminds me of the Russian version of Avery Bullock from American Dad when you say that though, so Ike. Tune your gaydar. I do, not sure why, he does look like he would have a bit of both in the bedroom department lol. Anybody for mild autism? I'm picking up perpetually bored pout vibes from him. I've literally never pictured him without clothes on until just now, and can imagine I'd go another lifetime not needing to picture it again, so if he is gay, straight, or toaster sexual, that is none of my concern. To be honest, I've never cared about Putin's sexual preferences, nor does it really matter. Every day think about verbal situations in your past and replay how you could have responded? Wit d'escalier or something. Jerk store. Only like every time my brain doesn't have anything else to occupy its time with. I'm very quick-witted, so not really, but I do wish I'd have just gone with F off over anything less obvious, but wittier. Well, the jerk store called, and they're running out of you. This is called ruminating and is common with mood disorders. It's not bad per se but can be an unhelpful thought pattern. Guys, what's that one thing that makes you feel great? Fresh haircut and beard trim. I feel even better when it's supplemented with a nice outfit and a night out to show out. Has me puffing my chest out thinking I'm the best looking dude out there. Finally nailing something after multiple failed attempts. The more times I've failed the better I feel when I finally succeed. You, really though, a good night's sleep feels great. A smile directed my way from a pretty woman. Last night my wife said I feel like I'm cheating at life by being with you. And quad. And that made me feel pretty great to say the least. Other than that, I love having a good evenly matched spar/fight. Being commented and validated my partner. Our entire society suffers with image issues and derogatory treatment, regardless of gender. Having a partner who goes out of her way to compliment and celebrate me makes me feel so whole and complete. The first time she said you are truly a great man literally made me fall apart crying. No other girlfriend has ever said such a thing to me. I make a point of complimenting her at least once every day, whether it's the quality of her character or a tiny habit I adore. A productive day, whether it be from work or gym. Feel like I can put my feet up, eat that, food etc. because I've earned it. Feeling genuinely desired makes me feel like a gay gillionaire. Getting 15 minutes of sunlight a day, a really solid whole apartment clean, though my body usually hurts after, helps clean the brain cobwebs. Making eye contact with a crush, or seeing them look at you when they don't think you're looking. A lot of things, but it feels great when someone depends on me for answers or a solution. It feels good to be needed and admired. Shredding a fresh line into virgin powder like Travis Rice. When my 2-year-old granddaughter runs and jumps into my arms to give me a hug that comes from her soul. Cleaning up my place after a long week. Something about bringing order to disorder is very satisfying. When you've been dating/talking to a woman, and you finally have, the moment the tip goes in is the best feeling in the world. Heavy squats, sucks in the moment sometimes. After I'm done, I feel 6 feet 5 inches and my brain gets an intense workout. Nothing feels better than knowing that I gave it my everything, and looking at how far I've come. Waking up very early on a Sunday and it's raining outside. Feels like my day is already worth it. Put some coffee and pancakes in and there you go. Absolute serenity and I feel great. Adult men, what would you advise male teens who will turn 18 in several months? Adding to the great comments that are already here, I would say this. 1. Figure out what excites you. 2. Figure out what you are naturally good at. 3. Figure out what you are bad at. Try many jobs, activities, things to gauge yourself. The earlier you figure out 1 and 2, the earlier you can devote your life to the things that you enjoy doing and can succeed in doing it. Then you can reach success sooner. For 3, you can try doing it but you may find other people who do it better, which may lead to disappointment. These are the things that you may want to get help from others eventually. For example, if you are in business, hire or partner with someone. Have a good life ahead. Pick something and stick with it, especially for a career. The more you change your mind down the road, the harder it will be to make that change in so many ways. This is especially bad looking in the eyes of women you see as potential mates, as they want a guy who knows what he wants and stays committed to it, not someone who is indecisive and flip-flops back and forth between forks in the road. If you do find someone you love, and I mean love, it's okay to wait before doing anything serious. Never ever rush into a relationship, even if you feel like you've never loved anyone or anything more. My wife and I dated for 1 year, then lived together 4 years before getting married. We waited an additional 4 years after that to have kids. In that time we traveled, partied, worked on our careers and education, we made memories, and grew up together. Today we've been together 18 years and we're still going strong. True love is a slow, strong, steady burn, not a bonfire. If the other person can't wait or doesn't have the patience to grow with you, then that's a red flag. 1. Focus on college or vocational training. 2. Work as hard as you possibly can, push yourself to the limit and keep stretching those limits. 3. Do your job and learn your manager's job also. 4. Identify a mentor. 5. It is okay to kiss once in a while if it helps you get the job done. 6. Self-promotion is okay. 7. Learn to relax and have fun, relax and travel. 8. Avoid marriage till you 28-29. 9. Make good friends, friends you make next 4 years or forever. 10. Don't ask strangers on the internet for advice. Make your own mistakes and have fun conquering the world. Cheers and good luck.